I am Adrian Wooldridge. I work for Bloomberg. I'm an imposter here. I certainly don't describe myself as a progressive. I think about at least half of neoliberalism is very much worth saving. We're here to talk about reshaping markets.
I think we should ask ourselves whether neoliberalism as an oppositional framework may be doing more harm for our conversations than good. Keeping it at the center of our framework has a tendency to generate a heterogeneous cluster of policy ideas that don't in themselves cohere into a holistic and compelling vision of the future. It might be wise to talk less about what we're trying to look beyond, to use the parlance of this conference's title, and more about the future that we're trying to move toward. I think in discussing that future, the crucial issue, and I think this is one thing that neoliberalism does that is problematic, is less about the relationship between the state and markets, and more about the relationship between the state and technology. That is to say that it's in the 1990s that the terrain of politics on both the left and the right were clustered around the idea that technology was going to bring us a better future. Today, we live in an era of incredible disillusionment with technology. All of the promises of this digital transition are felt by many people to have failed them. And the central question for policy entrepreneurs over the last 15 to 20 years has been what to do about that.
To poke some holes into Angus's points, I am skeptical of the expertise set of points that you made, not because I think expertise is popular. I don't think anybody is running. I've missed the candidate. I've missed the candidate who was running for any office on rule by the experts as their like placards and posters and TV commercials. I'm just not sure that's what's going on anywhere. But
He was called Barack Obama.
Well, I'm not sure he did that either. But here's the point. There's some amount of policies that governments do that are highly popular with people, work really well, that are happening, that still take experts to be involved in. So many jurisdictions in the United States have moved from starting in kindergarten to offering pre-K, pre-kindergarten for 4-year-olds and for 3-year-olds. This is not just in blue places, it's also in red places this is happening. People like having pre-K for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Well, how do you implement a policy of pre-K for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds? You probably need some policy people who know how to do that and write policies and think about how you implement it and so on. So there's experts involved in all of these things, but no one's selling it as we should have experts running the theory. You're selling it as why don't we have pre-K for 4-year-olds? I'll just say one thing on the fury point, which is I don't agree with that. I think there's fury on everywhere.
I think that's absolutely right.
So
absolutely right.
On the right in the United States, if you watch the video of Josh Hawley and Mark Zuckerberg, he makes Mark Zuckerberg stand up and apologize in front of a room of people who've had, their children have suffered because of Instagram and Facebook. That is fury. That is fury personified in a hearing. On the left, Bernie Sanders and AOC are running around the country saying "fight oligarchy," and thousands of people are showing up. So if that's not fury against wealthy and powerful people on both the right and on the left, I don't know what counts as fury. It's like you take on the richest people in the country to their face in a hearing or mass mobilize thousands of people in a big speech, but both seem quite fury-oriented.
Back in 1976, the South Korean automobile manufacturer called Hyundai, which used to be a construction company, started producing its first domestically designed car. In the very first year, its production run was 10,000 cars. I still remember in 1976, 77, when I was a school kid, there was this big newspaper headline saying, Korea exports its first cars. Yeah? Turns out we sold 5 ponies and 1 bus to Ecuador. Probably we paid the Ecuadorians to buy them. Yeah? From 2009, Hyundai was bigger than Ford. From 2015, Hyundai was bigger than General Motors. Yeah? So how did it happen? I've written about these kind of things quite a lot, but it was a very aggressive infant industry development program. For those who do not know this, the origin of this idea, it is actually an American idea. It was invented by Alexander Hamilton, the very first guy in charge of U.S. economy. So the idea is that in the same way that we protect and nurture children until they grow up and can compete in the other labor market, we, the governments of developing nations need to nurture and protect their young industries. Yeah?
Why do we focus on antitrust? Maybe let's start with that question, right? I mean, it's, in my mind, you know, whether in the United States or in China or in the European Union or in this country, antitrust is an extremely powerful regulatory tool. You know, it allows the government to take very interventionist measures and intervene in the market, even on offshore activity that seemingly have very little to do with the country, right? And so, and that make it like a very versatile, very powerful tool for the government to discipline, to restructure, to reshape the market, to achieve self-sufficiency goals, and to make China great. You know, so partly, this discipline on its own big tech companies have this grand vision that we need to reorient our consumer tech business towards hardcore technology sector that makes China truly competitive. We need more companies like ZTE, like Huawei. We don't need so many companies that sell clothes and video games that are poisoning our children, right? You all heard about DeepSeek emerge, actually emerged way before everybody knows in the West. It emerged because of government crackdown on quantum trading, okay? Because DeepSeek is a quantum trading company, and because of the financial crackdown in 2023, the founder of DeepSeek has to pivot his business focus to something else. He has so much chips, so he started to use it to train AGI.